I've heard the story from you, but I'd really love to hear. So for context, you do Rolla Bolla, you have a table, and then you have this lifting mechanism that comes up, and like other people do similar things, but you have uh, a very, a very unique table that you've designed yourself and gone over a few iterations. And I'd love to hear you just kind of talk about like the ideation, the engineering, and just like a lot of the detail that has gone into that process.
Yeah. So let's go back 10 years. I think it was sometime between 2015 and 2016. I had this idea, like, what if like I'm on the high stack and the table just lifts me? But then I was like, but how would it lift me? How could I build a table so that it's kind of like in there, but not there? And, I had this idea, and I'm in Florida, and I have a friend that knew I was into mechanical things. And he's like, hey, I have a place you should check out. And I was like, not now. And he was like, no, really, you should. I'm going to take you there. I'm like, okay. He sets up a day and he's like, I'll pick you up. So he takes me to this place, and I'm walking around. I'm not looking for anything to build anything. I'm just looking. And then in a corner, I see the mechanism that I bought a new one, but the exact same style of mechanism. When I saw it, I was like, there's my lift table. That's it. Like, I recognized it on the spot, which was pretty cool. So I bought it. It was super worn out, janky, but I took it home and I paired it with another thing, a bunch of items that have nothing to do with each other. I put them together and I started prototyping my lift. This is 2015, and I was in St. Cloud, Florida. And I continued working on this table. It was a bit of a money pit, every time I went to the machinist or something, it was like $500, $700. It didn't work. Throw it away. Try it again. But eventually, I built my first prototype table that was built to house the system and prove my concept. And I tried it there for the first time, and it worked, but it needed a lot of work. It was wrong in so many ways. I kept trying, and around the same time was when I went to AGT, and I made it to round 2, and I showed them a video of it, and they liked it. And I was like, okay, the way it is right now, I cannot use it. It barely worked for that video like a year ago. I was like, if you help me with some money, I can finish it, and it will be ready for the show. So they gave me some money. I bought the nicer stuff and spent some of my own money, and still it barely worked. But I did it for the first time on AGT. But it was definitely an expensive, a long and complicated process of creating something that didn't exist, but that only I knew how to build, because I'm not only the designer, but I'm also the end user. And that's what I think is very important. Was very important for this trick, was that the fact that I had to stand there and use it. I really knew what I needed it to do, and it took a long time and a lot of money, but now I know what I needed to do and how I need to make it do that.
Oh, that's really awesome. And you're on what, version 3 now?
Yeah. So I go like the Iron Man suits, Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3. So Mark 1 and 2, they were put together with a hammer, Mark 3 is the first nice prototype, and it's a table everybody has seen. And I'm gonna now I'm 80% done with Mark 4, which I'm really proud of, because it's like better in small but big ways to me.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit lighter, just as strong, and we'll have my new table will have a lift, and the top will turn, which adds so much complexity to the inner workings of it. You don't even want to know. But basically, my lift doesn't spin. And if I want the whole top to spin, the lift, when it's down, needs to unlock. So everything spins together. And it makes sense in Rolla Bolla. When you see, I'll make a video one day and you guys will see it. But I'm in the headache process of figuring that out. But I'm almost there.
Yeah. And what's the final weight of it going to be?
My current table that only lifts weighs 99.5 pounds. Fully loaded, ready to lift, battery included. So my goal is that the new table that will rotate weighs the same, which means I needed to put the current design on a new diet. It needed to lose all the weight that it was going to regain with all the mechanisms for turning it. So that's nickel and diming with ounces.
Yeah.
You know, everywhere I can put a hole or make a cutout or use a thinner material, I am doing that. But it's difficult without compromising the safety of the prop.
Right.
You know, Rolla Bolla tables are a different animal. You don't build Rolla Bolla tables for standing. You build them for landing on them like a potato sack. So you gotta build it to withstand a fall from about 5 to 6 feet, so stack height, and landing on the very edge, so the most leverage. You know, you have to build them to survive that landing with a force double or triple. So I'm like 150. The table has to survive, 300, 400 pounds landing on the very edge, and and not buckling or breaking welds or anything.
And what does that that kind of fault tolerance process look like? There's probably not much noise simulation software for this exact type of thing. I know you're.
I could do that, but I'm still a bit old school. I like doing things on paper, and I don't know how, but it's kind of like a gut feeling, like all the computer renderings happen in my head. I can't explain it. I just know, like, okay, no, if I make that hole half an inch bigger, that's going too far, too thin, and that's where it's gonna fail, But luckily, the little Gamble was my Mark III, so the ones that you guys see everywhere. And I noticed that was overbuilt.
Yeah.
Because it never even budged a millimeter. So I'm like in racing, if it doesn't break, it's too strong. And if it's too strong, it's too heavy, So I was like, oh, I can definitely go thinner on the legs. I can definitely do this different. I can definitely go thinner here. And I can put not 3 holes on a gusset. I'm going to put 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have any software for testing like the strength of things. I just know that the previous table was overbuilt by too large of a margin.
And are you able to like reasonably prototype some of these things, like with your miniature circus, or is it?
No, not really. The best I can do is like do a real size drawing.
Yeah.
To double check my measurements and tolerances and stuff like that. But generally, the materials and the labor is too expensive to prototype and then do a final design.
Right.
The current one has to work. And that kind of pressure is good because it helps that pursuit of perfection.
Yeah.
You have to get it right. So you're not just going to draw and send it and have it made. You're going to draw it, look at it, wait a week, look at it, wait another week, look at it again, change something, look at it 10 more times, and then send it to be made. So I haven't gotten anything wrong because I take my time. I double check my work. Sometimes I find mistakes. Yesterday, I did some drawings, took some measurements. I was about to write an email, order some material that needed to be cut. And I was like, something doesn't feel right. I'm going to double check if I got something wrong. And what I was going to order wasn't going to work at all. It was going to be literally for the bin. So yeah, it's just a slow, complicated, expensive problem to build these props, but when they're finished, they're so worth it.